Welcome to Unlocking Home History, the podcast where we explore the future of real estate, transparency, and how technology is reshaping the home buying experience. I'm Cash, the founder of Home History, and joining me today are three amazing guests: Matt, a seasoned real estate expert; Kev, a tech and AI specialist; and Wilson, a market analyst and investor. Welcome, guys.
Excited to be here, Cash. Real estate is evolving fast. Transparency is more important than ever.
Absolutely. Yeah, AI and big data are changing the way we access property information right now.
Yeah, man. And as an investor, understanding property history can mean the difference between a great deal and a money pit.
Let's start with fundamental questions. Why does the real estate industry need more transparency?
I think one of the biggest challenges for buyers is the lack of historical data. You might get a home inspection, but it doesn't tell you if the property had flood damage 5 years ago or if there were failed sales due to hidden issues in the past.
Exactly, Matt. As an investor, I've come across a couple properties that looked great on paper, but had hidden problems like foundation issues or insurance claims that weren't disclosed to me at the time. That's a nightmare for anyone putting their money into real estate right now.
100%. And that's where technology comes in. We have access to so much data now, but the real issue is consolidating it into something useful and digestible for buyers and sellers at the same time.
Yeah, that's exactly why we have created Home History to give buyers, sellers, and investors full transparency. Our reports gather data from public records, insurance claims, and even past renovations. So let's dive deeper into what Home History actually does. Imagine a Carfax report, but for homes, giving a full background checks on the property.
That's a game changer, Cash. So, what kind of data do you pull into these reports?
We cover a range of things: past ownership, structural modifications, insurance claims, flood and fire damage history, permit records, and even energy efficiency updates.
That's impressive. Are you using AI to analyze patterns or predict potential issues?
Yes, we use AI to assess risks based on historical data. For example, if a house has had multiple plumbing repairs over a short period, we can flag that as a potential long-term issue.
Man, that's gold for investors' cash. Knowing these details before purchases saves a ton of money.
Yo, let's break down who benefits from home history and most. Matt, as a real estate expert, how do you see this helping agents and brokers?
Yeah, Cash, it's huge. Agents can use these reports as a trust building tool. When buyers have access to all relevant data up front, they feel more confident making an offer on a house.
Yeah, and honestly, harping on what Matt said, for investors like me, this is essential. We don't always have time for extensive research, so honestly, something like home history and the reports that they give could cut our due diligence time in half.
Yeah, something else that's important to mention here is tech savvy buyers, especially millennials and Gen Z. This is exactly the kind of digital first solution that they can expect.
Absolutely. And sellers also benefit because transparency speeds up the sale process.
So honestly, switching gears a little bit. So let's talk numbers, Cash. What's the market size for a business like this?
The real estate data market is growing rapidly, Wilson, with over 6 million home sales in the US annually and increasing demand for data driven decision making. We are tapping into multi-billion dollar industry.
That's cool. Plus, AI driven platforms like Zillow and Redfin have shown that buyers want instant access to property insights. Home history fits right into that ecosystem.
And I've been seeing lots of things. Like many states are pushing for more property disclosure laws. Home history could become an industry standard.
So, where do we go from here? Our goal is to expand nationwide, integrate with major real estate platforms, and develop predictive analytics to help buyers anticipate future property risks.
Well, answering your question, Cash, I think AI can definitely take this to the next level. Imagine like real time alerts on potential risks or personalized insights based on user preferences.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Kev. Investors would love that. Like honestly, getting notified about like properties with undervalued potential would honestly be a game changer.
I can also see home history being a tool for insurance companies and mortgage lenders to assess property risk better.
That's the vision, guys, to make real estate transactions smarter and safer for everyone. This has been a fantastic discussion. Home History is on a mission to make real estate transparency the norm, not the expectation. Let's dive into some question answer session where our listeners can get more clarity about our concept and they should know about what exactly our idea is about. So, my first question to Kev would be, what are some real world cases where hidden property issues led to major buyer regrets?
Yeah, so I think one, it's good that we're going to dive into this more because people need information on this, right? It's something new. I think a common example would be flood damage, for example. So some buyers would purchase a home down here in Florida, like Hillsborough County, near the water, right? Without knowing if it had past water damage, leading to mold issues later on, or just issues with the flooring, the walls, maybe the drywall had to be replaced. So they have no historical data on the home. They're left dealing with expensive repairs, having to call plumbers, having to call electricians, things that need to be fixed that maybe they didn't know they were taking on. I just think it would be really useful if we could mitigate some of those issues, especially with flood damage, because we know it's popular and it's common down here in Florida, especially on the water. People are buying houses left and right. And one of the main issues, if you do buy a house on the water down here, you know what you're getting into, right? Insurance companies may not warn you up front, but their
Mm-hmm.
coverages, if you look into what flood insurance actually is, it doesn't cover as much as you would expect. So, say you build a $3 million home in the water, flood insurance can only cover up to $250,000 of whatever's lost in your home, and on top of that, another $100,000 in contents, which would be TVs, furniture, whatever was inside of the home. So you're taking a risk, obviously, buying a home on the water in this area or really anywhere, but specifically Tampa. So I think it would be really helpful if we could get purchasers of homes knowing what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I mean,
Oh,
kind of harping off of what Kev just said right there. Honestly, as an investor, especially down here, just like he was saying locally in Tampa, especially with the weather that we get around here, what I've found after like looking at a lot of properties and putting my money in different places was kind of like the biggest challenge that I came across was just foundation issues, and just knowing if the foundation of the house was sturdy or if there was any work done to it or any previous damage from any natural disasters or just from the type of soil that we have down here in Florida. And I think if a property has a history of shifting or cracking, like it could turn into a horrible financial disaster. And I mean, it's happened to me a couple times. It's probably happened to anybody that's bought any property down here in South Florida. So honestly, if we could get something as investors that shows something as critical as foundation history and any, like, I guess, what would be the word for it? Just any, not disaster, but just any flaws in the foundation, it would be honestly a game changer.
Matt, do you have anything to add? Because I got something to add to that real quick before we move
Yeah.
on. One more thing is just on it. What
Mm-hmm.
people don't realize is buying a house is the most important purchase you'll ever make, right? For a lot of people, it's the most expensive purchase in
right.
your lifetime. There, you
Yeah.
can buy houses for millions of dollars. You can buy houses right now, and the Tampa market's coming down a little bit, but you can buy houses for $400,000 or $500,000, and you're not breaking the bank, but you're getting a property that's probably been used many times, right? It's probably not a brand new build because it's expensive to build down here in Tampa right now. So if you're going on the used market, which a lot of people are doing because there's not much land around here to be built on, you're buying a home that has a history, and you would like to know what that history is, especially with a place like this with hurricanes and natural disasters and hurricane season and summer. Just a lot of flooding can happen around downtown area. So I think it would be really useful, something that a lot of people would be able to use, not just here, but like we said, worldwide eventually.
I can jump off that too. Even if you are buying a new build, you can still look into the history of the builder. some builders are great, but some builders cut corners. So I think having a tool that could really help you dive into a builder's history as well and just see if they're somebody you want to buy a house from would be really important.
Yeah, I love that point, Matt. Honestly, I
Yeah.
think that could help investors a lot too, because I feel like that's like a really kind of overlooked portion of the whole thing is just the builder exactly.
Mm.
Right. That was a great answer, guys. So, coming on to the second question, what role do government regulations play in property history transparency? And this is for Matt.
Yeah, I think some states have strict disclosure laws, but others follow like a buyer beware model. I know some currently have just a few states where you really have to disclose anything that's happened in that house, but most states currently, everything's left unseen, unheard of, and kind of just gets swept under the rug. So home history can really help fill that gap by offering reports that go
Mhm.
beyond the legal requirements.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Is
Also,
anyone having anything to add in this question?
yeah, I got just one more thing to add on that. There's also more states that are moving toward mandatory transparency. So what that basically means is tell us what the home has been through, right? Tell us what the builder's been through. Like, what is the history on this home? Has it been rebuilt? What's the soil like? What's the land like? Is there a pipe that's burst? Has a plumber had to be here a lot? Has the heater gone out? Whatever the case may be. And businesses like Home History can set that industry standard going forward. So people want transparency. It's 2025. It's time to move forward. You know what you're getting when you're buying a lot of things, right? When you buy food now, it's become really popular. You read the ingredient label. A lot of people are doing that. You want to know what you're putting in your body, but at the same time, it goes without saying for homes. Like we should not be buying homes blindly in this day and age. We should know some history on it.
Yeah, and I
Right.
mean, I probably sound like I'm repeating myself, but just like for investors, I feel like that's kind of like transparency on the property is the holy grail for investors. So honestly, like if home history could come in and be the person that is 100% reliable for transparency and like set the industry standard for states, I mean, it could blow up in a second.
Right. So, moving on to the third question, guys. How can AI improve property risk assessment beyond just historical records? This question is for Wilson.
Honestly, when you're talking about just property risk assessment, and just going beyond historical records, as an investor, kind of just in the space that I'm in right now, a lot of people have been trying to like see if any new technology can bring in any new information like under that. And I think AI could predict like future risks based on past trends, especially if home history can incorporate that. Because I know that it's like an AI based model, so I think that if home history could expand on like past trends and alert you of future risks based on like the type of property it is, where it's located, and I think honestly that could, I mean, it would be a life like be a lifeline for me as an investor.
Yeah, like that. I think
Okay.
historically there's been a lot of little small details that kind of just get blown over. You don't really notice them, but AI could be used to track those trends and see what kind of small issues could become big issues in the future, and just kind of alert you before you buy a house, before you make a big mistake, to those small things that maybe could be fixed or maybe aren't really fixable or are going to lead to a big issue in the future.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you have anything to add, Kev, being an AI expert?
Yeah, I just think my opinion, we could probably also integrate some like smart home data in the future to track like real-time conditions and alert homeowners before minor issues become major problems. Like just for example, we actually have someone on this podcast right now that just purchased a home, and Matt's the man who purchased the home, but it was in the Tampa Bay area, right, Matt? You just got moved in, or was it around a little
It
north of
is
here?
the Tampa area, about 30 minutes outside of Tampa. So having something like this could have been great when I was looking at all these houses. I looked at lots of used houses, of course. You know, who knows what's happening? Sometimes you see a seller that's really motivated to sell their house, but you don't really know why. There could be an issue with the house. Something could be wrong, but you have no
Yeah.
idea until you're in that house, and 10 years
Hmm.
later, something really wrong happens. Or the house could be great. Maybe the seller's motivated for different reasons. But you just don't really know unless you have some data to really back these decisions.
Yeah, and a lot of going off that, a lot of these real estate agents, they're young and they're up and coming. They want to get houses sold, right? Like that's where they get commissions. So why would they? I mean, you would like to think people have good spirit in it and they have good intentions, but why would they disclose everything? They don't know everything that's going on with the home. They're a lot of times they're selling hundreds of houses at a time, or they got many listings going on. So a lot of these people just want to get some commission and get their life started as real estate agents. And that's where we think technology can help solidify some of these answers, right? And not just trusting the human, because yeah, people maybe are dishonest and lie sometimes about these types of things and just want to get something off the market. That happens all the time. And you see many houses sit on the market for years and you wonder why. Well, usually there's probably an issue. It's in a bad area, maybe a bad school district, something like that. But it can be even more major. Like maybe the home has a structural issue. So it'd just be cool to get some answers on that. And the best way today to have consistent feedback and have answers that stick and are true is using technology and AI, because it's pretty accurate right now. It's a 99% hit rate, I would say.
Okay. What do you think, Kev? Could blockchain be used to secure property history records?
Yeah, absolutely. I think blockchain ensures tamper-proof property records, reducing fraud and increasing trust in real estate transactions. Right. So that's kind of what we're getting at. We need people to believe that our data is the real data, that there's no other answer out there, that our information is completely 100% accurate, and we need blockchain to ensure that. That way, nobody can tamper with our property records. It's insured. It's safe. It's as safe as you could keep a file in the FBI, basically, right? That would be the analogy we could use. You want something to be safe, and especially in the cyber world, you have to use blockchain to do that. And reducing fraud and increasing trust in those real estate transactions will only help our business grow, and over time, our reputation will skyrocket, and we'll be the go-to spot for all of this.
Yeah, and honestly, I think just kind of back to what Kevin was saying with the young realtors nowadays, I think that could also be like a draw towards using home history for these new younger realtors, and then also just this new younger generation, tech savvy generation that is buying houses right now. Like example, Matt, literally our generation, and I mean he's probably the biggest tech whiz that I know, and he's art, you know what I'm saying? He's
Hmm.
buying a house now, so I think it could be a draw for home history for sure.
Yeah,
Right.
and the last point is like good real estate agents, they're going to want to have that data on their side. They're going to want to have that secure property history record, because why wouldn't they? It's all but going to help them sell a listing. Like
Yeah.
when somebody comes to buy a home from them, unless they're a shady real estate agent, they're going to want to have proof that home is good to go, right? Like there's no issue, and they pull out their sheet, they show the person looking to buy the home, and they're good to go. So I think it actually will clean up the landscape of the shady business that is going on behind the scenes at the same time.
100%. I think it also could help
Right.
sellers stand out in the market too. If you're trying to sell a house, you can provide this home history report showing that your house is in great shape. When someone might be trying to sell their house, and not really say what it is, they're trying to lie about it and get rid of this bad house. But when you have a history report, I think buyers are going to want to buy from you when they can really see, what the house has been through and really trust that they're buying a good house.
Yeah, like for example, my parents back home, they live in Pennsylvania. They built their home from ground up in 2001, right? And ever since, obviously, the market has gone up, so their home value has gone up, and they've tried to list it a couple times. Within the last 4 years, it's gone up a lot more, so maybe they're going to list it again. But the house has never had any issues. It's built on top of a cul-de-sac. It's safe. It's in the middle of the mountains. Yeah, you get some snow, but we put a brand new roof on it just to give it an even longer life shelf. So for someone like them who's getting older and maybe want to move down south and get a different home or something, this would be perfect for them to use home history. Hey, you bring in a real estate agent, you got the files, everything's secure. Nobody can tamper with it. You got the property records and everything. New roof, boom, boom, boom. It's been built 25 years ago, but it's completely good home, ready to go. And I think it could help people like that a lot.
Yeah.
Right. So, Matt, how does Home History verify the accuracy of its reports?
Yes, so I think home history pulls from multiple sources, like public records, insurance claims. So if
Mm-hmm.
anybody had a big insurance claim, good or bad, if you just got a new roof on your house, that might be a good thing. Or, if you had flood damage, that might not be so great. And it's going to alert you to the positives or the negatives of your house. Again, permit databases. Not everybody is going to go through insurance when they need to do a big home fix. That can cost a lot of money. You
Mm-hmm.
can risk losing your insurance being dropped from them. So people go to handymen or contractors, and those people are going to pull permits to replace
Mhm.
roofs, to fix walls, to just counteract these big things that that these people don't go through insurance, so that you're going to want to see. There's also a lot more things. AI cross checks all these inconsistencies. It um, finds those trends so that you can really see what's going on, just to improve that accuracy overall.
Okay.
Mhm. Good point.
And coming on to partnership, like what partnerships are we exploring to grow home history reach? Wilson, can you answer this?
Yeah, Cash, for sure. Honestly, right now, I think the main targets for home history and like our partnering would honestly be with kind of, I guess, like the leaders of the industry, like Zillow and Redfin. I think if we can get in with them, it would honestly just be a ginormous kickstart for the company. But I
Mm-hmm.
think in the meantime, while trying to get in with those giants of the industry, I think we could like really use a lot of our resources and try and get in with mortgage lenders and insurance companies, because those are kind of the two like underlying things that we need for like the back end of the operations of the company, just to have all that, I guess you would say, like kind of not seen data that would let our database thrive. But I think right now, like the big overarching goal would be to try and partner with those giants like Zillow and Redfin.
Great.
Hmm.
And how does home history stay competitive against the free public record searches? Anyone can answer this. Like Kev can answer.
Okay. Yeah. So one way that home history stays competitive against those free public record searches is that we provide way deeper insights by analyzing patterns, highlighting like red flags, and offering predictive analytics. Right. So things free searches cannot do. They're like Matt talked about a little bit earlier. There are some records that you could pull out there on some homes, but there's not a ton. There's not a ton of information that you can get. So we want those deep insights. We want the nitty gritty, the top to bottom, what's going on in that home, as much as we can gather, and analyze those patterns. And then when there are red flags, put them out there. We're not afraid. We have nothing to lose by putting out red flags, and we have nothing to lose by putting out green flags on homes. We want the homes to just be highlighted how they're supposed to be highlighted. So people have the information to make the right decision. If they want to buy the home, if they want to sell it, if it's a good time, whatever's going on with the home, we want that information and we have it. And that's all it is. We're just predicting future analytics and predicting where the home is going to be at down the road.
That's great. And how can real estate professionals be encouraged to adapt home history?
Yeah, I think that home history can really give real estate agents a edge in the market. With your subscription model, they can be able to show around their client and pull 40 different home history reports on all the houses they're going to look at today. So the client can really understand the differences in the houses and understand the price point those houses are at and how that reflects to all of them. They can really compare better, and it can really help a real estate agent sell their service. There's a bunch of real estate agents out there that want to sell you a house, and sometimes it can be tricky as a buyer to know who to go with. But if you have two great real estate agents in front of you, one has access to home history, one doesn't, I think the answer is pretty clear. They're going to go with one with home
Hmm.
history. So you
Yeah.
know what house you want to buy and what's going on with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how do we ensure that home history reports are user friendly?
Wilson, you got that one?
Wilson, you can answer
Yeah,
this.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Honestly, I think by using visuals and like easy to read risk scores for me, just as an investor, I kind of want like the second that like I pull up something, I kind of want it to just be like all right in front of me. So I think like if we really put like our efforts into the visuals and just like easy to read, like because I mean, usually when you pull up like Carfax or anything like that, you're kind of wanting to see like the high score pop up like right in front of you with green on it. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think like if we kind of use that in home history, and like if you are pulling up home history and the second that you pull it up and you see this property that you know that you've been loving and you've been looking at it for a while and it comes up green and a good score, I think that will be user friendly. I guess more of just like uh how would you say it? Just like catering to our audience. And I think that would really set home history aside.
Good point.
Okay. And Kev, where do you see real estate transparency in 10 years, bro?
I see it being full digital integration. Buyers will demand instant access to home history, just like they do with credit scores today. I think it's the future. I think it's a genius idea. I think it's never going to go away. Everyone needs a roof to sleep under, right? Everyone needs houses, so everyone needs a home, a place, and we're going to provide that data, and people are going to want it. Real estate agents, everyone's going to want our data, and I think it's important, and I think it has a need in the market, and it caters to just about every person on this planet, especially those who are looking to buy a home or need a home to live in for those that are fortunate enough for it. So I see it fully taking off and just absolutely cruising down the road.
Yeah.
And could home history expand internationally, Matt? Like, what do you think on that?
Yeah, Cash, definitely. I think, well, regulations vary. The demand for transparency is universal. There's one thing that's great about homes is that everyone needs them. You know, the market, the industry is pretty standard. Everyone's going to buy a house. The process is still pretty similar wherever you are. We can definitely start close to home with places like Canada. That market's pretty similar to like it is in the US. And then
Yeah.
like eventually moving further abroad, the UK and the rest of Europe, and just keep expanding home history
Right.
to make it a worldwide thing.
I like that,
Point.
man.
Yeah.
Great answers, guys. Thank you, Matt, Kev, Wilson, for insight today.
Thank you for having me. Excited to see where home history goes.
Yeah, same here. AI driven real estate is definitely the future, boys.
Yeah, this one's gonna be big. I'm not gonna lie, Cash. You got to keep working on this one. Investors will love it, man.
And to our listeners, if you are buying and selling home, don't go in blind. Check out home history and stay informed. Thank you for tuning in.